Hello everyone, in this video I would like to talk about this ESP32-P4 screen. I actually already showed something that ran on this, actually a couple times on this channel. It was the video where I demonstrated a custom graphics library, and then also I had some battery related stuff running on one. But I just got a new one in the mail, so I just wanted to go over this screen. I really like it. I don't exactly know what to call it. These screens are made by just random companies that don't really have like a brand name or like a model name. I mean, it has a model number, this JC4880P443C. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. I just particularly like this screen, so I got another one. I want to do more things with it. So I just wanted to go over, the layout and the features and stuff like that. There we go. Let's put the screen on this just so it doesn't get all messed up. Okay. Like most other boards and screens that have a ESP32-P4, this also has an ESP32C6. The reason for that is the P4 does not have its own wireless. So, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, you're not going to get that with just a stock standard P4. You have to include some other chip. Now, most of the time, or at least what I've seen, they are totally separate modules. For example, like this one right here. We have the P4 right here, and then we have the C6 right here. And you can see the Wi-Fi antenna, it connects to the C6. But you can see this board does that a little differently. It doesn't have them, separate at all. They're all, together on one module under this RF can. And I just think that's pretty nice. As far as the specifications, I have seen the ESP32-P4 listed pretty much everywhere as 400 megahertz dual-core RISC-V. Now, this is dual-core RISC-V, but I've not actually seen any ESP32-P4 clocked at those speeds. This is actually 360 megahertz, and I believe they're starting to actually mention that on their documentation. Because when I first got this was actually my first P4 board here. It's listed as having 400 megahertz clock speeds, but it's actually just 360. I assume that's due to quality control, yields, or something like that. They just can't run reliably at 400 megahertz right now. So they've got them clocked down in the microcode or whatever to 360 megahertz. And that's fine because, it runs really great. The ESP32C6 has its own specs because it's its own computer system. It's a single core 160 megahertz, and it itself has its own 20 megahertz RISC-V ultra low power processor. So that handles things like sleep, wake up, and stuff like that. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the C6 because you don't use the C6 directly. You could. There's a header on here somewhere or some method or way, a button you hold and turn it on and flash it through these pins. You can actually reprogram the C6 to run whatever program you want, but I don't recommend doing that. It's set up with a pre-installed firmware that communicates to the ESP32-P4, and it gives it seamless wireless connectivity. By seamless, I mean you don't have to write your code in a special way because it's done that way. It just works. So I can upload a sketch, that has Wi-Fi access or Bluetooth, does Bluetooth operations or whatever, and I don't have to say, hey, this is a P4 that's using a C6. All I have to do is say that it's a P4, and it will automatically figure all that out. So you don't have to change your code at all, which is really great. The touchscreen is capacitive, so it's not resistive, so it's a lot like modern smartphones. The responsiveness is very good. You don't have to press really hard like you do with the older and cheaper resistive touch technologies. As far as the resolution, because of the size, this is pretty small. 800 by 480 is still really sharp and nice. You can see the pixels, but you have to get really close. It looks really good. And I particularly like the lower resolution because other P4 screens, they're trying to really show off the hardware of the P4, and they've got some very nice, very high resolution screens, like 720 by 720, or even some that have 4-digit horizontal resolutions. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but you're gonna take a performance hit. With this 800 by 480 screen though, It's super smooth and nice. As long as you do the code efficiently, you can get 60 plus frames per second, no problem. Okay, so now I'm going to go over some of the board's features. So we have this tiny little MEMS microphone here, and the quality of this microphone is actually a lot better than you may expect. It doesn't sound as good as, of course, like a condenser microphone, you know, something much larger and much more expensive, but it is surprisingly good. And it shouldn't be that surprising because smartphones, including like really nice ones like the latest Samsung and Apple phones, they all use microphones like this. This here is the speaker interface, and you can see it has the same exact connector as the battery interface, which I'll get to in a second. You can plug a speaker directly up into this. You don't have to have an amplifier or anything like that. And you can play MP3s and have like, you know, user interface, you know, sounds like when you tap to press a button, you can get some user feedback. It works really, really well. Moving on, this is the lithium-ion battery interface. You don't have to have a separate charge controller or a BMS or anything like that. You just hook a single cell or a single cell group, which is, you know, multiple cells in parallel, up to this guy right here. And then when you plug in to either one of these ports, it will automatically recharge the battery. When you unplug, it will automatically switch to the battery power. It works really, really well. Some boards have a proper battery management IC, but this one does not. So it does do you enough of a favor, though, to internally connect the positive battery pin to an ADC pin so you can read the voltage. You know, you don't have to do your own loop back to, you know, because if it didn't have that, you would have to manually wire something from positive to one of the GPIO pins just so you could kind of know your battery voltage. But at least it has that built in. It doesn't have like a true state of charge indication or anything like that. It's not able to do column counting or anything like that because, like I said, it's not a true blue, you know, battery management chip. But it's good enough for most applications just to know the voltage. Here we have two USB-C ports. This first one right here is a full speed port, so you get 12 megabits per second. And then this one down here is a high speed port, so you get full USB 2.0 speeds of 480 megabits a second. If you're curious about megabytes, that comes out to 1.5 megabytes for this top port and 60 megabytes a second for the bottom port. Here on the right side, we have our GPIO cluster. GPIO stands for General Purpose Input Output, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You can do all kinds of different things. You know, you can do I2C, UART, you can read buttons, and whatever else you can think of. You can do all of that through this header right here. This connector and this connector are the hardware UARTs. They connect to the ESP32-P4 just like this does, and it just has this interface so you can connect a nice little convenient cable there. It doesn't come with anything though, so you'll have to hunt and find you know, adapters for these. Here we have the camera interface. It's this tiny little connector here, and that takes advantage of the ESP32-P4's built-in MPEG encoding. It does not have decoding though, unfortunately. So even though you've got this nice screen and nice powerful processor and you can do 60 frames a second, you will struggle to play video on these because they don't have any hardware decode support. They do, however, have hardware encode support, so at least you can read cameras and all that other stuff. Down here we have the RS485 interface. RS485 is similar to RS232 or serial, but it's, you know, it's more industrial and it runs better over longer distances. And then right here, we have a dedicated I2C interface. If you're not familiar with I2C, that's basically like USB for chips and boards. So you can connect things like analog to digital converters, pressure sensors, and things like that right here. And you can also access the I2C bus through the GPIO pins. We also have some buttons here and here. One of these, this is the reset button, and then here we have the boot button. If you want to program it, you'll have to hold the boot button as you plug it in, but you only have to do that if you write certain types of programs that take over the USB ports. It has this little camera hole here, which you'll either love or hate. I personally I don't like it because I have no intentions of using the camera, and it kind of just makes it's kind of just tacky. I don't know, because it's just going to have a hole in it, and there's nothing I can do about that. One nice touch is you can see this film here. This is an adhesive ring that's installed all the way around the board. So, once you get ready to put it in a casing or you 3D print something to put this in, you can remove this protective cover and then, press it in real nice. So now I'm going to plug it in so we can just see the demo program that comes with it. There we go. Now this looks like an operating system that has apps and stuff on it, but it's not. It's totally fake. You can think of it like a software version of those fake photos that you get when you buy a picture frame. But it's a little more functional than that. I can't really show you the music player because I don't have the speaker hooked up, but you can still kind of see the performance of the board. We can press play, and it's doing a little animation there and has a scrubber. Let's go back. I think, yeah, that's how you do that. Let's see what this is. It's just showing the image quality of the board, which is very good. I think you tap, no, you swipe. Look at that. I mean, it's really nice. Okay, let's go back. Then we have some mock settings. It's probably going to scan for Wi-Fi networks, yep. You can see the user interface is not very polished. And then we have a calculator, which actually is nice. You can see it's very responsive, isn't it? It's a nice little device. But it's not very polished. See how it kind of runs off the bottom here? This is because this is a general purpose demo program that they put on all kinds of different boards and screens, and they just don't take much care into making it perfect for a given one. I do not know how to play this game at all, so let's just back out of that. What else do we have here? There we go. It's a nice clock. So that's pretty much it. We've got another page actually. Oh, there's nothing on that page. And there's nothing on that page either. Okay. But it's very nice, very responsive. Let's refocus. The color is great. I'm very happy with this screen. Look at that. Well, if I focused it right. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'll be making all kinds of things with this board. One of them is going to be an embedded game engine. So think of something like Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, or maybe a little better than that, but running on this board. I'm going to make like a really intuitive game engine that makes it really easy to make custom games for this board. Not because I'm into games. I mean, everybody who knows me kind of knows I do not at all play video games, but I still appreciate the concept, you know? That's it. Thanks for watching.